Welcome back. All right, continuing on with the season previews, and we are going to talk about the Minnesota Wild. So after this preview, we've got two left. Tomorrow we finish the season previews. The Minnesota Wild, a team that made the playoffs this past season. In fact, they've made the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years, and they still look like they should be a playoff team. The tricky part for Minnesota has been getting over the hump and going from a playoff team to a team that wins in said playoffs. They have not won a round since 2015. They haven't won 2 rounds since 2003. At some point in time, they have to break through, don't they? So, looking at the Minnesota Wild's top 6, I think this is a good top 6. We'll see how the lines end up shaking down, starting with Kirill Kaprizov, of course. He needs to not miss half the season. Missing half the season and, being banged up, not something that's going to benefit them if they want to progress this year. Eriksson Ek, much the same. Eriksson Ek played more games than did Kaprizov, but Eriksson Ek missed plenty himself. Matt Boldy. Matt Boldy had a really good season. We'll see how he follows that up. Boldy is one of their most talented forwards, of course. Johansson is still here. And Johansson likely to end up in the top 6, although there's a couple of guys we can talk about who might push him out of there. Rossi is projected to be in this top 6, and again, most of the time with these lines, I'm just pulling them from Puckpedia, and I might make small alterations, but not major ones. Zuccarello as well, rounding out the top 6. We know how good Zuccarello is, and he has really good chemistry with Kirill Kaprizov, so we'll see how the lines end up shaping up. In the bottom 6, you have Marcus Foligno, Hartman, who of course had himself a controversial season. He'll be looking to avoid suspensions and all that this coming season. Tarasenko is an interesting addition in that Tarasenko very likely ends up in that bottom 6. His production is no longer what it once was. However, there's got to be some temptation to have Tarasenko and Kaprizov at least play together a bit. Now, whether they get into a preseason, that's the term I'm looking for, preseason game or not, that remains to be seen, and if they play together, keeping in mind that a lot of the time the veterans don't really play in the preseason, but we'll see how it all ends up working out. Trenin, Sturm, and Yurov rounding things out. Yurov is one of those guys who has some upside, so he may force himself into a more prominent role than is currently projected. Speaking of which, you have Liam Ogren right here in green. And Ogren, I think, is going to want to get himself a regular spot in the lineup. This is where the fight for those roster spots should get interesting. Obe Kubel was picked up for depth. Hinostroza is there for depth. Jones, Pitlick, Milne, Haight, Bankier, Butler, and Merrick rounding things out amongst their forward group. And no, it's not Jeff Merrick. He has not joined the Minnesota Wild. So it's a good forward group. We'll see if it's a playoff level forward group, but we get to the defense. Middleton, Brock Faber, the much beloved Brock Faber, of course, the much beloved Jacob Middleton. Buium. So what kind of season does Buium have if he has a really good rookie season? Because pretty sure he's still eligible to be a rookie, right? He barely played this past season. So if Buium ends up being a really solid top 4 defenseman for them, that's going to help because Brodin's going to start the season on IR. Spurgeon rounds out the likely top 4. Then you have Jiricek and Bogosian. If Jiricek is going to live up to his advanced billing from when he was drafted, this is a great time to do it. If you're the Minnesota Wild, you'd love to see it from him. And Bogosian, of course, good depth defenseman. Outside of Brodin, who is on IR, you have Jack Johnson on a PTO. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a contract, to be honest. Kierstead, Gleason, Lambos, Pert, Height, and Spacek rounding out their blue line depth. And with, like I said, with Jack Johnson, he would be your number 7 defenseman until Brodin's good to return. So we'll see how it turns out. The goaltending is going to be interesting. With the exit of Marc-Andre Fleury, the question is out there about Wallstedt. Wallstedt didn't have a great season this past year, but he still has the pedigree of being a first rounder, and he will get every opportunity to have that backup job for however long this goes on. But it is going to be interesting to see how long that leash is and how many games Gustafsson plays as the starter. Gustafsson, a very good goaltender. Wallstedt, I still believe can bounce back from a season like last year, But there is the possibility that Bill Guerin, say by mid-November, might be looking to shore things up if Wallstedt has the struggles. Depth-wise, Cal Peterson was added. Lavage is there as well. So there's a little bit of depth in net. Cal Peterson's fine at the AHL level. But if Wallstedt does have those struggles, don't be surprised if all of a sudden Minnesota's looking for a change in net, at least in the backup spot. The MVP, I picked Kaprizov because if they're going to get to the playoffs, if they're going to do anything in said playoffs, Kaprizov's going to be the guy for them. The one to watch, I picked Marco Rossi. I think after the season he had this last year, which ended up being kind of a nightmare, but he still had 60 points, at least during the regular season. He's going to be looking to prove that he is, top 6 forward material and stop with this whole getting his ice time cut back and force his way into a top role with this squad. Now, the channel vote, only 8% voted them first or second in the division. 62% voted them third or fourth. 27% voted them fifth or sixth. And 4% said seventh or eighth. I do think third, fourth, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. And then the question becomes, are they going to be able to do anything in the playoffs when they get there? A question we have every year. So the cap space, there's still some cap space here. And there's the chance Bill Guerin looks to shore things up a little bit before the season starts, or you just carry that cap space into the regular season. $4,411,835 in cap space for the Minnesota Wild. The schedule, it's busy, but again, all of them are pretty busy. 6 out of 12 in October are at home, so it's half and half. In November, 9 out of 14 are at home. So that's a very home-heavy month, 9 versus 5 on the road. December, 8 out of 15 are away from home. And then in January, also 8 out of 15 are away from home. So that's 30 games in December and January. February, 3 out of 4 are away from home. So they just have the 4 in the month that has the Olympic break. In March, 8 out of 14 are at home. And April, 5 out of 8 are away from home. So pretty balanced schedule, busy in December and January, and of course, because it's the Minnesota Wild, you've got to be conscious of injuries at all times. It feels like half their blue line was beat up for a lot of last season, and some key forwards were out as well. They need to have a little bit more luck when it comes to the injury bug this coming season. So looking at their record since 2021-2022, they are 13th overall in the league, 183 wins, 111 regulation losses, and 34 losses in overtime and shootouts. Their top 5 scorers over this time period, Kirill Kaprizov, unsurprisingly first place, 264 games, 158 goals, 177 assists for 335 points. Matt Zuccarello, 286 games, 77 goals, 186 assists for 263 points, so very productive later in his career. Matt Boldy, 285 games, 102 goals, 142 assists for 244 points, and he's getting better every year. Eriksson Ek, 278 games played, 93 goals, 110 assists for 203 points. And Hartman, 284 games, 81 goals, 92 assists for 173 points. The one prospect I saw that I don't think is signed at this point in time is Charlie Strammel, who was a former first-round draft pick. So not really in the picture as of yet, but time is still on his side. So the record this past season was 45-30-7. Isn't that the same Carolina had? 45-30-7? And yet the predictions are very different between those two squads. And amongst this 45-30-7 record, to get them there, Boldy was the leading scorer, 82 games, 27 goals, 46 assists, 73 total points. Rossi, 82 games, 24 goals, 36 assists for 60 points. So he was second in team scoring, still ended up on the fourth line. Kaprizov, 41 games, 25 goals, 31 assists, 56 points. So quick math tells you he was on pace for 50 goals and over 110 points. Zuccarello, 69 games, 19 goals, 35 assists for 54 points. And Freddie Gaudreau, the now departed from the team, Freddie Gaudreau was fifth. 82 games, 18 goals, 19 assists, 37 points. Bit of a career year for him there. The goaltending, it was really the Gustafsson show. 31-19-6 with a .914 save percentage. Those numbers are excellent. Fleury was 14-9-1. His save percentage ended up at .899. He, of course, has retired. Wallstedt was 0-2. .843 save percentage for Wallstead. So some concern based on AHL numbers and NHL numbers with Wallstead, but again, I do think he can bounce back from that. The last 5 playoffs have been song remains the same as it ever was, whatever old rock and roll term you want to use. Outside of not qualifying for the playoffs in 2024, they lost in the first round each year. 2021, they lost in the first round against Vegas in 7 games. 2022, they lost in 6 games against St. Louis. 2023, they lost in 6 games against Dallas. And this past playoff in 2025, they lost in 6 games, and there's Vegas again. So if they follow a pattern, that means they lose to St. Louis in the first round this year, Dallas the year after, and miss the playoffs again the year after that. Of course, for Minnesota, they'll be looking to buck that ongoing trend that they've had. Now, looking at special teams numbers from this past season, not great. Their power play 20.9%, which was 20th, which is almost halfway up the list. Their penalty kill, an atrocious 30th at 72.4%. That has to be better. Their goals for 2.74 per game. That was 25th in the NHL. They need more goals. Having Kaprizov for a full 82 games should help. And goals against, they were 16th in the league, so right at the midway point, 2.88 goals against per game, meaning they allowed more goals than they scored, and that's something that they're going to need to turn around as well. The Minnesota Wild are, I believe, a good team. The question becomes, are they a team that can become a great team? Can they become a contending team? I think at times over this last few years, we have seen glimpses of that. There have been times where Minnesota's been first in the division or very close to it. It's just a matter of playing your best hockey in April and having that strong run to the playoffs, and then that momentum carrying over into said playoffs. Much easier said than done, of course. So the Minnesota Wild, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding how you think they'll do this season. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.